Hello boys and girls, my name is Vari and I'm Rosie's mummy, and for my job I come to work in a lab. You can see here I'm in a sort of lab space because I work as a scientist. Every day I come into the lab and I try to make new medicines, and I do lots of different experiments to try and make molecules that might one day be somebody's medicine. So I'm going to show you some of the equipment that I use and some of the things that we can do to try and find new medicines. But first things first, you can see that I've got my safety glasses on, I've got my lab coat on, and I've got my gloves on, because you've got to be safe when you're doing experiments. Okay? This is one of our special machines, and it's called an NMR machine. Now it's very, very special, and it tells us what kind of atoms are in the molecules that we make. So it can tell us what atoms from the periodic table are in our samples, and it's got a cool robot arm. So I'm just going to put a sample on, and hopefully you get to see the robot arm. And it should go down and it should pick up my sample, and it will put it in the big machine. And the sample will go into the machine, and inside the machine there's a really big magnet called a super magnet, and that is really cold. So it's so cold that it only works when it's covered with liquid nitrogen, which is freezing. This is another machine that we use in the lab, and it tells us how heavy things are. So if I've made something and I want to know how heavy it is, I put it into this machine and press go. And then in a minute, the machine will come down and it'll go to my sample and it'll pick it up and put it in the machine. So you can see, boys and girls, it's going to go to the sample, it's going to take a little bit out, and then it's going to inject it into the machine. And it'll tell me how heavy it is. So that's one of our cool machines. So I'm going to do an experiment now, boys and girls. So I've got some yellow liquid and I've got some special ice. Now this is very cold. So this is much colder than normal ice. This is actually a thing called frozen carbon dioxide. And it's much colder than normal ice. It's colder than anything you've ever touched before. It's even colder than anything else it can make. It is really cold. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them together and see what happens. Do you know what's going to happen, boys and girls? So I'm going to get my yellow liquid and I'm going to pour it into my frozen carbon dioxide. Look. It looks like a cool potion, doesn't it? But all we're seeing is the ice starting to heat up, and it's starting to bubble because it's getting warmer. What do you think, boys and girls? Would you like to do experiments?
By watching the video, my girls and boys.
Thanks for watching the video about what scientists do when they go to work, girls and boys. Remember, there's loads of science things you can do around your house. Just remember to ask a grown-up.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.